Thank you, Hira, so much. So Hira, I want to bring attention to our younger generation. I want to give them the message that whatever it is that you don't love about yourself, be it your hair, be it your skin, be it your smile, what is that one thing, or what are those few points that you could give to someone in order to, go about their day or just go about their lives in a more confident manner, and also basically what's your take on all of this, right? And regarding our social media frenzy that people have over here, that everyone wants to look the same, everyone wants to have the same hair, the same nose, right? I personally am not in favor of that. Everyone shouldn't look the same. But is that something that you feel like people have a problem with here? And what advice would you give them? What is their take home for that?
So I feel that I think you're mainly talking about teenagers, or I think this even applies to people who are up to their 40s, right? Yeah. People who sort of tend to feel like they need to look a certain way, fit into a certain beauty standard or a beauty mold. See, to a certain extent, I get it. I get that you want to fit in, you want to look great, you see something you like, you want the same kind of nose. I get it, I'm not going to sit here and preach and tell you what I think you guys should do or what you shouldn't do, but I will tell you this, that above all of that, yes, like you mentioned earlier, if there is something that is really bothering you about yourself, if you feel that it's become a distraction to who you are, if people are noticing this one thing about you before noticing who you really are, unfortunately, the world is like that, and I would say if it's really bothering you, if it's making you lose your sleep at night, you might want to get it checked out by experts and see if there is some sort of a non-invasive solution that can make you happy without having to completely compromise on who you are or selling your soul to trends or anything like that. Because like I mentioned earlier, trends come and go, but what's more important is, again, what I started out with is being authentic. I think is the most authentic and confident. I think is the most attractive quality that I think everyone can vouch for. It doesn't really matter. I could be here today in a white t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers without any makeup on, but if I speak in a confident way, if I'm nice to people, if I'm giving out a positive aura, then I think it doesn't really matter. Yes, one thing you can definitely work on, instead of focusing so much on the facade of what you look like, or sort of, okay, what kind of eyeshadow should I wear today, or what color lipstick should I wear today? Instead of being like that or thinking from that mentality, maybe you should, give yourself a little bit of me time and do some self-care routines, and maybe, make yourself feel better that way. Come to Christmas, get yourself pampered. Because one thing I know about myself, मेरे लिए ये बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि how does my skin look today? Is my face puffy? If my face is puffy, I know I'm gonna have a bad day. So I feel like these days my skin is more of a thing rather than what color lipstick or what should I wear, eyeliner or not. Sure, all of those things are fun too, but what's important is the health of your skin, the health of your hair, your body, your fitness. All of those things make a better foundation for what you want to eventually look like. Because I think like if you have a good foundation of skin, hair, nails, and everything put together, then makeup and all those things are only just a cherry on top. They'll just glide on super easily if you've gotten your facials done, if you've gotten yourself groomed, if you've gotten a fresh blow dry. I feel like hair is so important though, right? Like if you're having a good hair day, if you get a good blow dry, you really don't need anything else. You feel clean, you feel nice, you can just go out and do whatever. So there's so many other things, guys, but I guess the main thing that I just want to say is that let's just not focus. Let's focus on self-improvement, but let's not be obsessed with it. And that's just what I want to end with.
Thank you so much, Hira. I am going to move on to a very, very important aspect, and in fact the main aspect of our talk today, which is dental care and prevention. A lot of us have a lot of dental concerns, and many of us over here have probably gone through dental treatment or the other. How many of us over here have had dental treatment? How many patients over here have had dental treatment or have had any kind of dental problem? Anything at all, even if it's a basic cleaning, right? And what could the cause of all those problems be? So there are many things we can talk about regarding dental care and its prevention. But obviously we all know the most basic thing about dental care is taking care of your teeth, brushing twice a day, flossing, and using mouthwash. But even then, when you are using these few things to keep your mouth healthy, if you are doing your brushing, your regular flossing and mouthwash, you still end up with dental problems. Why is that so? So today we want to highlight why that could be, why taking care of your teeth and yet having dental problems is something that can occur. There are so many factors that can occur due to a dental problem being the main issue. For example, what is the number one problem people over here had regarding their teeth? What is gingivitis? Swollen gums? So does anyone over here had swollen gums or bleeding gums at any point in their life? When they're brushing their teeth, right? लोगों के bleeding gums हुई हैं? Yes? Alright, so there's a reason for that also. There are many reasons for bleeding gums. There's reasons for swollen gums. There's reasons for dental pain. There's reasons for sensitivity. We're going to talk in detail about all of these things. And once we do, I'm going to first call on my colleague and very good friend, Dr. Adil Iftikhar Khan, who is our maxillofacial surgeon here at Cosmetic Tower of Chrysalis, and we are going to be talking about everything dental with him today. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Adil.
Wonderful. Thank you for the lovely introduction. All right, yeah, so we are here to discuss about the problems that people can have over the years when they're living and when they're going through so much in their life. So there are a few things that can happen in their mouth. And
we began with swollen gums and gingivitis.
All right, so that's the basic that can happen to anyone. So we will discuss about that, and then we will let you know how it can be prevented and what is the actual treatment for that. Okay.
So when we discuss gingivitis, that's the scientific term for swollen gums and inflamed gums, okay? And inflamed gums can bleed easily, they can feel sore, and they can also burn slightly when you have something very spicy or something very hot. And the reasons for these could be, number one, plain lack of oral hygiene, not brushing properly, right? Or lack of flossing, when you're not reducing the amount of plaque that's stuck between your teeth. So these things obviously irritate the gums and they start to swell. But this is just the beginning of so many dental problems that can start just from a swollen gum. A swollen gum can lead to a disease known as periodontitis. Dr. Adil, would you highlight on periodontitis for us?
So gingivitis, basically the swelled gums is something that is only superficial, okay? It's just the swelling of the gum. But then once that swelling goes deeper down into the tissues, then where it becomes periodontitis, meaning that there's a recession of the gums, then obviously you will see loose teeth, okay? Teeth are moving, people complain about that. So we need to be aware of that what condition is what. So we need to treat the problems in the first place so that they don't proceed towards the next one, yeah, okay? So we just need to make sure that we do carry the oral hygiene instructions that are very important for us so that the disease does not progress to the next level, which can be harmful for you in the long run.
And in periodontitis, when we talk about just bleeding gums, bone is also involved. So we have bone recession and the teeth start to move. As Dr. Adil mentioned, that the teeth begin to move is because the entire foundation of the teeth is weakened, because it starts with the gum and then it moves on to the bone, and that is supposed to be the anchor and the basis of our teeth. And if the entire foundation is weak, then our teeth are not going to be strong as well. And if you want to have any cosmetic dental treatments done, then you have to first make sure your teeth and your gums are healthy. So these are two very basic problems that we see in so many of our patients, that is just unhealthy gums, unhealthy tissue, and we have to delay patients' cosmetic work as well, because until they have healthy gums and they have healthy tissue, we cannot carry forward something else on top. It's basically like painting on a wall that's already been painted and it has old and cracked paint on it. You wouldn't want to paint a new layer on a broken wall, because the entire foundation is not solid and it would ruin what we do on top. So these are just some small things regarding gum disease and periodontitis that we wanted to bring to your attention. Then there are more dental problems, like over here. Who has ever had a cavity? Over here. How many people here have ever had a cavity? We've got a few people here, not many. But even then, let me tell you, dental caries or getting a cavity is one of the most common problems, probably if not swollen gums. Regarding teeth, it is the #1 problem people have in their teeth, not talking about gums and bone. So dental caries as well is something that has a genetic predisposition, because if you have in your family to have low calcium levels and low mineral levels, you can be more susceptible to dental caries, but that is not the only reason. So don't blame your family if you've got cavities, okay? Because it also comes down to your own dental care. And dental caries can also lead to other problems, and it can cause huge abscesses or swellings. And Dr. Adil, could you tell us about your experience with people? You are a surgeon, so people come in with large abscesses and swellings and pain, and how can that happen from just a little cavity?
Well, the issue is that we know that once the cavity is like really small, but then obviously it disposes down towards the nerve, and once it involves the nerve, then obviously once the nerve get irritated, then it can have a great impact on your tissues which is present underneath the tooth.
Yeah, this
Okay,
infection spreads.
infection spreads, yeah. Okay, so we need to make sure that we do treat the cavity in the initial stages, otherwise it can lead to large abscesses, and that can become a problem then, because sometimes these problems can become life-threatening, which is then very difficult to handle. You need to be hospitalized. So there are a lot of things that we need to take care of in the first place. So just make sure that if you do have a slight cavity or a small cavity, just go to your dentist and try to get it treated as soon as you can. Otherwise it can become life-threatening for you. I know people don't believe in that, and they only go to the dentist once they have an abscess or something, but please do go to the dentist as soon as possible if you see any kind of problems in your mouth. And also it's a good practice that if you do go to your dentist after every 6 to 7 months, because it's very much important, and it also takes care of you and your oral hygiene instructions. All right, thank you.
I also remember this one time, because I've been working with Dr. Adil for many years. We met at a hospital many years ago, and I specifically remember I was new and he was senior in the maxillofacial surgery department. So there was a patient who had showed up with half their entire face swollen, and Dr. Adil was the one who helped me out with that case, because I was new to the surgery department. I didn't know anything regarding an abscess that had reached the patient's face. Their entire eye was swollen, and the start was a root canal treatment gone bad. It was just a root canal treatment happening in a tooth due to a normal cavity, and that tooth didn't even need a root canal, by the way. The cavity could have simply been filled, but the patient had also gone to a dentist that they hadn't heard of before, and they just went in an emergency because they had no time. And one thing led to another, where it ended up being a root canal gone wrong. The result was the infection had spread through the root canal into the tissues around the tooth, which is the periodontium we spoke about, and then it spread to the entire face of that patient. Dr. Adil came, and we obviously had to extract that tooth in the end, because there was nothing left inside to save. But the fact of this matter is, we are talking about this in such a sinister sense because it happens. It can happen to anybody. People can go in for a simple filling and it can turn out to be something completely what they didn't expect. Sometimes you think you have a little black spot on your tooth, and it turns out to be a lot deeper of a cavity than we assumed. We only get to know if we go to the dentist and they take a proper x-ray and they tell us, all right, we see a cavity and we need to fill it or we need to treat it. Usually cavities which have some kind of sensation, those are active. You can feel there's cold and hot sensation, and even if the tooth has been infected for many months, it can swell up a year later. So either way, what we're trying to say is, even the smallest dental problem can become a really big issue. And we also have another problem that many patients face over here: dental sensitivity, hypersensitivity. किसको खाने के दौरान ठंडा गरम लगता है? Have people over here ever had sensitivity when having ice cream or when having meetha or when having chai? So I'm sure even I have sensitivity sometimes, okay? So Dr. Adil, when it comes to hypersensitivity, do you get a lot of patients coming in saying that sensitivity is something they've been dealing with for a long time, and what is it that you advise for them? And what would you say?
It's like an everyday thing, because this is something which is a very common problem. So everybody faces that. Even I do at times, like she said, she does as well. So now sensitivity is something, obviously, when you do get swelling of your gums, all right, and then when the gum swells, okay, so sometimes the gum, it goes down from the actual position, and that's where your teeth becomes exposed to cold water, or it can be anything, cold juices or anything, and because of that you start feeling like electric shock like pain sometimes.
Yes, it can be like current-like pains,
Current-like pain.
or like cold and hot throbbing sensations. It could be of any varying degree, but mostly it's like a current-like sensation.
Yeah, so that's because you guys need to get it treated, and that can be done in the form of scaling and polishing, like we will discuss later. Okay, so that what treats it, but the thing is that sensitivity is something that can be harmful for the tooth in the long run. So obviously, we need to take care of that.
So we've talked about all these common dental problems, be it bleeding gums, poor dental tissues, which is periodontitis, where your gum and bone is damaged. We talked about dental caries, which is cavities that can lead to a root canal issue, which can lead to swellings and abscesses. And we've also talked about hypersensitivity. Causes of these issues. There are many causes of these issues. I already mentioned that there was a genetic predisposition. If you have it in your genes that your mother and your father and your siblings all have cavities, that is one factor, but that is just one factor. That doesn't mean that you are susceptible to them more. It is our job as patients, as people, to be able to take care of our teeth better, just like we take care of our skin, just like we take care of our hair, we should take care of our teeth as well. It is a daily process which has to be done vigorously twice a day, brushing and flossing, right? There are other factors that can cause dental problems, like if you have bad habits such as having snacks in the middle of your meals. So how many of you over here have snacks between your lunch and your dinner? Like, who doesn't have a snack between lunch and dinner? Everyone over here, I think, is saying silence means yes, huh? Everyone has their chai with their biscuits. Everyone's going to have like a little glass of, juice. Usually it's boxed juice. Very few people end up having fresh juices around here because, boxed juices are convenient, and fresh juices have a quick expiry. So a lot of people opt for sugary foods as snacks during their work hours. Have you ever thought that if you have a frequent sugary snack every 2-3 hours, it increases the acidic level of your mouth? So if you're having frequent snacks between your meals, you're constantly giving acidic environments to your mouth, and the acidic environment is what we are trying to avoid for the mouth, because it's that acid in the mouth that is created by the bacteria in your mouth, which is what causes all the swelling in the gum, which causes the periodontitis, which causes the caries. So this is one major factor we should look at. There's also another problem with smoking. Dr. Adil, can you tell our guests over here how smoking can really affect our dental hygiene?
Well, smoking, obviously we know that it has a few chemicals which are actually not good, which can cause, sorry about that. Yeah, so it does have certain level of chemicals which can be harmful for your mouth. It can cause, it has tartar in it, it's got nicotine in it, which can cause what we call is like staining on the teeth, okay, which can actually look bad when it comes to how you look. Okay, so you just need to make sure that obviously smoking is bad and you should not do it anyway, but then if people are doing it, then obviously they need to make sure that they do take care of their gums, because gingivitis, periodontitis, this is all because of what's done in the first place. So that's like smoking, okay? So avoid that, avoid smoking. It's not good for your health anyway, for your oral cavity, plus as long as it goes into your lungs as well, so it's not good for you. So just try to avoid it, and make sure that if you do have any concerns, so just visit your dentist and then they can take care of you from there.
Dr. Adil, regarding systemic conditions, people who have diabetes, people who have high blood pressure, people who are epileptic and taking anti-seizure medications, I've noticed have a lot of dental issues compared to a healthy individual. I have met patients in their late 50s and 60s who have no diabetes, no high blood pressure, no other issues, and their teeth are great. But then the diabetic patients, the patients with high blood pressure, patients with who are taking antidepressants, there are patients who take medications to sleep every night. What can you say for those patients? Why are these systemic problems so harmful for our dental health? How do systemic issues affect our dental health?
Okay, so the problem is that we know that we have an immune response of the body. So with diabetes and problems like these, so the problem is that your immune system goes down. And once your immune system goes down, obviously there's nothing that is stopping the body from being harmed. Okay, so we need to make sure that the immune system is working perfectly fine, and if it's not working at all, like in certain diseases, like people on like cortisol or hydrocortisone, like corticosteroids, or people who are having diabetic issues, or people with HIV, people with hepatitis, all these. So in these conditions, your immune system goes down. So in these conditions, you need to be extra careful of what you're doing, what you're eating, and so that you don't have any problems that can actually become a problem for you later in life for you. So yeah.
I want to hear that the diabetic patients that I have seen from various ages, I've even had a 24-year-old diabetic patient. That patient developed diabetes ever since they were born as type 1. Either way, all diabetic patients have constantly raised sugar levels in their body. So that high level of sugar in the body does have an effect on the gums. There's constant increased sugar in your blood circulation. Your gums and your tongue, they're extremely full of blood. That's why their color is pink. Their tissue on top is very thin, which is why the pinkness shows. When you have high blood sugar levels, the bacteria in your mouth end up thriving more, because their main food is sugars. So they derive sugar from your own blood, or they derive sugar from the food that you're having, which is your biscuits or toffees or any processed foods which contain carbs, which break down into sugars. So with diabetic patients, this is so much more increased that I've noticed. And I also noticed in diabetic patients that they always have a fruity breath. Okay, bad breath is also a very common problem amongst most people. In fact, I would say 95% patients I have ever seen or met have not had good breath. Why? Because many people do not take care of their tongue, and they don't take care of their oral hygiene in an overall manner. They just brush their teeth and they think they're doing their job, right? Brushing your teeth twice a day alone is not going to cut it. There are patients who only brush once a day. So that's also a big factor, right? So it's also about frequency of brushing, but when it comes to a diabetic, brushing is not going to cut it only for you. Your flossing, your mouthwash is always going to help, but the main thing is to keep your sugar intake under control, and obviously your blood sugar levels under control. I know I have people in the audience here who know people who are diabetic or who could be diabetic themselves, right? At the same time, when there's high blood pressure, I've noticed in my high blood pressure patients, usually they're very stressed out, tense individuals, right? So a lot of high blood pressure patients end up having more bleeding gums because the blood pressure is higher in their gingiva. So they have gums that bleed very profusely, and they also have a lot of flattened, cracked teeth, because stress means clenching and grinding. And a lot of them wake up with jaw issues because they've been stressfully clenching and grinding all night. And some people clench and grind so hard that they break off the top surfaces of their teeth, and at the same time there's so much tension between the teeth that it causes gum recession and lesions to form, like little ditches to form in the base of your teeth. So imagine having high blood pressure and not knowing it can be damaging what's happening in your mouth as well. Imagine your teeth getting damaged to the point that you cannot chew properly with them anymore. All these systemic factors really do have a really big impact on our mouth. And I personally have a very good friend who is an epileptic patient. He gets seizures easily, be it from blinking lights, or because if he hasn't slept 3-4 days, his stress level goes high, a seizure is induced. People who are on epileptic medications, anti-seizure medications, that itself has such a huge impact on the mouth, because it dries up the mouth, it dries up the saliva production, and if we don't have enough saliva in our mouth to buffer our mouth, because our mouth becomes acidic, it reduces the pH and acidity of your mouth. So if you're taking medications which are beta blockers for high blood pressure, and anti-diabetic medications, and antihistamines which are for allergies, antipsychotics, all of these medications and antidepressants, they all have a side effect of drying the mouth. And even smokers, anything that reduces saliva production is harmful for your mouth. So if you are someone who has no choice but to take medication because you have a condition, then you want to make sure you're hydrating enough and you're filtering out all those toxins from your body and the byproducts of your medications, because it can cause other problems as well. And right now, since we're focusing on the dental aspect of it, so it really does have a huge impact to play. Dr. Adil, here I'd like to ask you about dental implants. What is your take on dental implants? A lot of patients here know that it's just some screw that you put in the jaw to replace the tooth, and people are terrified of that procedure. And jabke, even though it's such a simple procedure and it is so it's time saving, to be honest, and it's actually a lot more conservative than having an entire denture or bridge. So can you tell us a little more about dental implants, and if you do have a diabetic patient, for example, who wants dental implants, what advice would you give them?
All right, okay, so dental implant, as we know, is one of the best treatments as of now, and it has a very long span that can stay with you for life. So the thing is that, but yeah, it does come under certain limitations. We need to make sure that the patient is not a smoker, patient diabetes is under control, otherwise there's the chances of implant to fail. Okay, so in these conditions what we do is that we really need to make sure, we need to recounsel the patient and tell him that you need to make sure that your sugar is controlled, and then obviously you don't smoke. So the thing is that these are the two factors that are very harmful when you put in an implant in a patient. So we need to counsel the patient a lot. We need to talk to the patient, we need to make sure that he understands, but it's by far the most advanced treatment that we have at the moment, and it's to be honest, it just takes 15-20 minutes to put an implant, and also it's much easier than a root canal treatment.
To be honest, yeah, but no, not root canal treatment over a bridge. What would you say about an implant over a bridge? Because a lot of people prefer implants, prefer a bridge over an implant.
The problem with bridge is that bridge is also a good option, but the only problem is that you need to cut the two support teeth that we have in order to make a bridge. But the problem is that you're harming two teeth that have nothing to do with, you know, that's not itself harmed in any way. So why do you want to harm two teeth that are okay? So that's the only disadvantage of the bridge. But then obviously some people do have the cost issue, so we also need to look at that. But then still, if people can afford an implant treatment, I think that is one of the best ones, and they should get an implant done, because it's much easier, it's saving your other teeth. So it's just like a screw that goes into your bone, it stays there, it adheres with your bone, and once it's strictly adhered, then we can, after 2 months, we can put a crown on top of it, which is much easier, rather than having a bridge which can cause damage to your two teeth, supporting teeth, and then you put that on. So I think implant is far better than that.
And one more point I'd like to add here is, because I have worked with Dr. Adil and I've seen his work as well, and I learned through him that when patients get implants, their bone retention is also greater. So wherever you place an implant, it attracts bone cells towards the implant because it's made of a very precious metal known as titanium, and titanium attracts bone cells to itself. So if you have an implant, you are not only saving two perfectly healthy teeth, you are replacing your lost tooth entirely throughout the root till the crown on top. So you have a completely new tooth which will last you a lifetime, as long as the surgery has gone well and your health is under control before surgery. And you have that advantage of not having damaged your adjacent teeth, and you have good bone level. Usually when you lose a tooth, the bone level starts to decrease, it starts to recede. And later, if a patient thinks after 10 years of having lost a tooth, okay, now I want to get an implant, the dentist will say, or your surgeon will say, you don't have enough bone left, now we need a bone graft. So we need to take a bone from somewhere else in your body. Usually it's the iliac crest right here on your hip. Why go to that level if you can simply do this the day you lose your tooth or right after losing the tooth? If you opt for a cheaper option, which is the dental bridge, obviously you are still compromising two healthy teeth. We have to do root canals in both those teeth because those are vital teeth, vital meaning alive, and we cannot trim an alive tooth. It would be really painful and very sensitive. So we have to basically compromise the lives of two teeth, take out their nerve, cut them, put a bridge on. What's happening there is you're losing the bone where the tooth was removed. So the bone keeps receding. So why wouldn't you just get an implant which would save the bone also, not cut the other two teeth also, and generally just rehab everything that you had lost already, right? So I think option. We do offer them here at Chrysalis as well. We've conducted a few surgeries here and I think they've gone really well so far. And yeah, Dr. Adil, is there anything you'd like to add to the implant procedure, or generally for all our guests over here, regarding their dental health? So
the problem is that people think that implant is like a dangerous procedure, or it has a lot of surgical intervention. So it's nothing like that. It's like I said, it's just a 20 minutes procedure in which if you know how to work, you can just put it within 20 minutes and you can close it. So it's just that it just depends how much expertise you have in it. So once you are prone to that procedure, you're easier, like you know that it can be done in a very easy way, you can do it. So I'll still ask patients to please do get implants. It's better than bridge, so that you can save your teeth, the adjacent teeth, and you don't have to get them damaged, and then you can have certain problems later in life. So implant would be far better than a bridge.
And before we get to implants, obviously if you ever have a tiny cavity on your tooth, please have it treated by your dentist. You can always come on over to me or to Dr. Adil here at Chrysalis Cosmetic Tower. We're always here. We are the dentists over here, and we can help you diagnose all your dental problems, be it a tiny little black cavity or a little swollen gum somewhere or receding gums, whatever it is. We care for your dental hygiene. We are here to guide you and to advise you what is best for you and your mouth and for your smile. We also do cosmetic treatments over here. So obviously, talking about all the basic dental treatments, my favorite is doing a cosmetic dental treatment, which is to basically rehab your entire smile. So if someone doesn't smile because they don't like their teeth, or they don't like the way they look, or they don't like their color or their shape, we are here to help you with that, because it's our job to help you improve your smile. Because after all, the importance of your smile, of your oral hygiene, is very, very underrated over here. You will notice many, many people smiling. How many over here, especially this is a social media industry and the social media era. How many have you noticed people take selfies and they're like this? Doesn't everyone do this?
I do.
No one smiles with their teeth. Why? Why don't people smile with their teeth? Why don't people smile with their teeth, right? So we want you to feel confident. Smile with those pearly whites. If you feel like they're not pearly white, we'll make them white for you. That's fine. And just letting you know, very small factor, not all teeth are meant to be pearly white anyway. We naturally have off-white teeth, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? As long as it suits your face, as long as you are confident with your teeth, and as long as you like what you see, you should always smile with confidence, because that is what gives you that inner boost to be able to communicate with so many strangers on a daily basis, or your colleagues, or that crush, or that boss. So, so I would advise, if anyone ever has any worries regarding their inner confidence, regarding their smile, to be shy about. When you say, I don't like my smile because I have that one pointy canine, or I have this one chip, we can fix your chip tooth with a filling. We can give you braces and straighten your teeth. We can brighten your teeth, whiten your teeth, give you veneers. We can do everything for you. As long as you trust us and you want to make your smile better, we will help you get there at Chrysalis Cosmetic Tower. And you're all always welcome. And I'm that you were all here today to be part of this, and to obviously give us your feedback regarding all the dental issues you may or may not have faced, right? And Dr. Adil, thank you so much for joining me and answering all these questions. And so today I'm going to obviously want to close. Before that, we have a few messages to give to our audiences and to our media presence over here. Hira Tareen, I would like to welcome you back on the hot seat. Thank you so much, Dr. Adil. Thank you, Hira, so much for coming back.
No problem.
So Hira, today we talked about a lot of dental related questions,
Yes.
right? And because over here we have so many procedures that we offer at the Chrysalis Cosmetic Tower, and we have an array of lovely doctors who have treated me myself, right? Right now I'm going to invite Dr. Ikra to please take my hot seat and talk about dermatological procedures with Hira, because Hira over here is...
I want to know about the double chin thing.
Yeah, she's the one who treated me for that,
Right?
all right?
Oh my god.
Yes,
No wonder,
yes.
Alina.
So please, Dr. Ikra Akram, please come here and talk about that.
I'm handling all the aesthetic procedures over here at the Chrysalis Aesthetics, and today as the topic is preventive dentistry, so I'm not going to take a lot of time over here, just going to briefly explain about the treatments available here. We have hydrofacials to med lights, and we have fat reduction treatments available here. And then we have face tightening and body contouring and face lifting procedures available here. And we have this very beautiful Dr. Alina here who got her treatment done from here. And next time when we will do a separate topic of face tightening and face contouring, then I will show you the live pictures of hers as well, and for other patients as well. Yeah, thank you. And I would like to call Dr. Laiba now to tell you guys about the injectables.
Laiba here, and I do all the injectable procedures along with the aesthetic procedures. We offer a variety of injectables here. A few of them are Botox fillers that have become very common now, and I'm really happy that that taboo and that myth and it's, like, oh my god, Botox is such a big thing, is actually out now. So we offer Botox, fillers, Profilo, and also we have slimming drips, lipolytic injections that we target specific fat areas. And people, overall they're okay, but it's a specific area that bothers them. We have a treatment for that too. We have brightening drips and also drips that increase immunity as well at the same time. So we have a variety of options available. Plus we have a third floor that is fully equipped, very good OT available in Operation Theatre, where we offer a variety of cosmetic surgeries that is done by a very good qualified surgeon here. We offer hair transplants to liposections, to facelifts, to everything that is available. That anything that is in your mind, we offer that here under the Cosmetic Tower at Chrysalis. So we welcome you here. We're so glad that we all are here. You could make it, and thank you so much.
Which procedures do you suggest for hair?
She's so beautiful already.
How about my double chin?
Yeah, well,
Definitely.
now that depends if you want it invasive or non-invasive. We have a variety.
I just want it gone.
Oh, there are a lot of ways you can have it going. How do you want it going?
Non-invasive.
Okay, for that we have Ultraformer,
Okay.
and Dr. Ikra is the special person who does it here.
Okay.
But Ultraformer is basically skin tightening. It is basically a high ultrasound wave. Just through we do it. It's a machine, and it's a very quick procedure. No pain, no downtime, nothing. You do it.
What are the invasive options then?
Invasive options, lipolytic injections.
Lipolytic injections.
Yeah.
Is
What
that
basically
Kybella?
something? Yeah, exactly. That's Kybella.
Okay.
What it basically does is it breaks down the fat cells inside.
Okay.
And the good part is that the fat cells don't come back.
Okay.
So
Okay,
if
that's
people
great.
ask me, ki, bhai, how long does this last? It lasts. It depends on how much you eat.
Okay. And how do you know if what you have there is skin or fat? How
Well,
can you
yes, that's a very good question. We check. We give we give a patient always. Ab aata hai koi bhi patient, we give them 2 sessions. One session to check how much that's working.
Okay.
If it's not, we stop them there. We're like, no, this is not for you because this maybe is just muscles that's bulging around.
Oh,
Maybe that's just extra skin and not your fat.
Okay.
Yeah, so that depends on the injection. When we put it in, we see how it's working.
Oh,
And for
okay.
people like me, for doctors, they can figure out there and then, okay, we put it in, but this is not fat,
Oh,
this is
okay.
skin. So yeah.
So you can tell beforehand before
We
starting?
we can, but sometimes the fat and skin, they've actually become, they're quite similar. So you can't really figure out unless you inject and you see, okay, this is not going away. This is skin or bulged muscle maybe, but not fat.
And what if it is skin? Then what can you do for
Then when they come next time, we give it to either we refer the patient to our plastic surgeon, or Dr. Ikra takes over and then she does the HIFU, because with saggy skin, HIFU works really well.
that? Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we have a board of doctors who sit down and do consultations together, so we can figure out what is best for the patient.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? No? Alright. Okay, so this is it for today, and hopefully we'll be having more cosmetic talks over the time with specific topics that we will discuss. So today I am going to hand over the mic again to Dr. Alina so you can take over the dental talks and continue. Thank you so much once again. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Shah Salman. Thank you.
So this is just an end note. I'm glad we were able to talk about everything under the sun regarding dental cosmetic treatments over here. Ultraformer is very good, Dr. Ikra. Yes, I had that done. We will talk about that after our live is over. But it's definitely something I would like you all to consider, especially if you've got like thin skin, sagging skin in certain areas that no matter what you do, that skin doesn't tighten. So I have personally had one very good experience, and I'm going for my second. Yes, Samantha. And we will take lots of before and after pictures for you all. Anyway, on this note, I really hope that this session was informative, interesting, and helpful for anyone who didn't know a thing or two about their dental hygiene or for their skin. And please feel free to leave DMs on the Chrysalis Aesthetics page, on the Chrysalis Women page, on the Chrysalis Men page. And we would love to see you here at Chrysalis Cosmetic Tower. We're always welcome. You're always welcome here. We love having people come in. We have amazing coffee, amazing chai, amazing staff. It's a beautiful building and everything under one roof. Okay, one place that I'm personally very proud of being part of. And thank you so much once again, you guys. Thank you. And thank you so much, Hira, for being here today. Thank you so much.